Hi guys, Ed here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Urban Trial Freestyle 2 for the Nintendo 3DS. I've had my chance to have a go on it since it came out last week, and it's pretty good. It's good fun. So I thought I'd just run you through here, just let you know what's up with the game, and tell you a few of the features that you can expect in Urban Trial Freestyle 2. Now, obviously, 2 means it is a sequel. The first game was actually on the PS3, and it was basically the PlayStation's answer to Trials HD. So it's interesting that they've gone as far as to go to the Nintendo 3DS, which I think is actually quite clever. It's a good market to go into, I think, with this kind of game. So here you can see we are customizing our rider here. You can change his helmet from basically nothing with like a bandana on, and he's got his hat on, to having a proper helmet, which I think is quite cool. You can also change his trousers as well as his t-shirt, gloves and shoes. I think it's quite funny here. I'll go through a couple of the different trouser options you can see here, and he always does up a zipper. He's always got a zipper to do up every time he puts it on, which I think is quite funny looking. But anyway, this is basically all the customization you can do of the rider. It's just very simple. He just changes different parts of his clothing there. Now you can also choose between 3 different bikes that you unlock as you play through the game. They're quite easy to unlock as you play through, but interestingly you can actually customize your bike as well. Now these aren't any like different colors or anything. They're actually sort of mixing and matching the different parts that you get from each bike. Now each part has its own sort of effect on the performance of the bike. So what I've actually done is I've put the wheels from the second bike on all of the components from the third bike, and what that gives you is slightly less handling in favour of more maximum speed for some reason with different wheels. But yeah, it's quite interesting to be able to do that. You can sort of configure the bike differently. I'm sure if people start getting really hardcore into this game, they might start reconfiguring the bike based on what track they're on, which would be quite interesting to see. Now you can play this game through 2 different game modes. One is time trial and the other is stunting mode. So at the moment I'm just going to get into a couple of time trials here, just to give you guys an idea of what the gameplay is like. So yeah, here we're on time trials. You can go through, you are trying to have the best time possible as you're playing through. Now some of these stages are actually quite difficult, and on this one I realised as soon as I came over this ramp that it's actually this annoying stage which took me ages to master, where you have to sort of navigate these springboards between one area to the next. And it's really annoying. To start with, it took, I think the first time I played through this, it took me probably a good half an hour to an hour trying to realise how this worked. It seemed impossible to me, but I thought, no, it must be possible. It must be you must be able to achieve it. And as you can see, I did it there. And then I messed up the next bit, which is actually the easiest part on this entire stage, which was really annoying. I was like shaking the 3DS, like, why did I mess that up? It's so annoying. But it's fine, I've got the knack for it now. I did it right the second time. So basically on the first springboard you've got to sort of brake, and then the second one you've got to actually reverse up the springboard slightly just before it bounces you off to the next one. And that way it will actually launch you into the next one, because if you don't do that right, then you end up just sort of smashing your head into the bottom of the third springboard, which is really annoying. So anyway, here we're progressing through the stage, and any of you that have played Trials HD before, or Trials Fusion, or any of the other games, you'll actually recognise how this game is working. You can sort of see how if you just manage to keep your back wheel solid, then you can progress through very easily. But on this game it's a little bit more forgiving. So being on the 3DS, the controls are not quite as detailed as you would expect from maybe an Xbox or a PlayStation controller, because you've only got buttons for your accelerator and brake. You've also got this thumbstick on the 3DS, which is a bit more, I don't know how to put it really, it's a bit more sensitive as you're going forwards and backwards. So the bike actually moves quite a lot as you're moving the rider back and forth, and to compensate for that they've actually allowed you to quite a lot more margin for error. So you can almost go fully upside down and sort of lean forward, and he comes back from like all the way back forwards and manages to save himself. So it's quite interesting physics at times, but once you start getting used to it, it's all about just trying to keep your back wheel down and level, and you can really plough through the stages. It's quite intuitive actually. So here I decided to go on to one of the final stages that I've got left to do. I haven't got that many left to go through on the career, and this one I hadn't done yet, so it's quite interesting. You can see I flip and flop all over the place, and I'm just trying to sort of feel my way through the stage and understand where and what I can do. There's one bit here, I think it might be coming up in a second, where I'm flying down this one bit, and I think it's sort of a loop-de-loop area where you can sort of go back on yourself, and I totally get it wrong. I end up flopping on my head. Oh, it's this bit here. I fly up into the air. I'm like, oh, okay, I needed to actually stop there and go back on myself. So you find a lot of the times this is something that you have to do a lot in this game, is you either do a loop-de-loop to get round to something else, or you have to stop and go back, or you might land on something and you have to sort of like fall down into a pit. And usually those sort of areas are always quite predictable, because there isn't a lot of areas on this game where you can actually fall into sort of a bottomless pit that kills you. Most of the time you'll be falling down to sort of a bottom half of the stage, so it's sort of like a second route, if you like. So here we go. There's a final bit of time trial here, just the last stage that we're going to look at on the time trial, and that was another area there where you sort of fall through the bit that falls apart, and you fall down to the sort of bottom area of the stage. Sometimes it's not always the fastest way to go about it, but for this I just wanted to make sure I got through the stage fairly cleanly for you guys, so that you could see what the different stages look like. Each one of these has been in a different area. As you can see, some of them are up on rooftops, and there's another one that's in like a suburban area. There's another one they call the skate park, where you're going between like different ramps and things, which is quite interesting. But yeah, this is essentially the different areas that you get. And now we're moving on to the stunt mode. So with this mode you have to basically complete different things as you go through the course. So as you can see there, I had to do a backflip, and then I think there's another area where you have to sort of land on a specific spot. So you sort of are given an area that you have to land in, and the closer you get, the better score you get. I think there's also like speed trial there. That bit there, I had to land on that area. There was also speed trial, flips. What else? There's distance and height as well. There's some bits where you have to try and get really high. So it's quite interesting. It's basically a different way of attacking the same stage. But what's quite good as well is that in order to progress through this game, you have to get at least a 3-star rating as you complete each stage, which is a fairly easy rating to get. You don't have to be the fastest or the best at the stunts in order to get 3 stars. It's sort of average, you did all right. And getting a 3-star average through a whole area lets you unlock the next area, so you can progress through the game quite quickly and get through to all the areas, but you might not be perfect on everywhere yet. And in order to get that 3-star average and unlock the next area, you don't actually have to have completed the time trial and the stunt. You could have just done the time trial, and if you get 3 stars at least on every time trial, you unlock the next area. So that allows you to progress completely through the game by just doing the time trial, which is quite good. I think that's a really good way of doing it. It means that if you find the stunt mode maybe a bit boring, you don't fancy doing a flip everywhere and doing all that kind of stuff, then you can just do the time trial all the way through. Gives you that option. Now once you've unlocked all of the areas, there's a final place that you have to try and unlock, which is like a challenge mode, which I haven't got to yet. But in order to unlock that, you have to get an average of 5 stars on every area in either time trial or stunts. So again, you don't have to do both, but yeah, you have to get a average of 5 stars throughout every area, which is going to be very difficult. But I'll let you guys know maybe when I get through to that challenge area. I'll let you know what's up with that challenge area. Okay, so finally here we're going to be having a look at the building mode. Now in this track builder, it's actually a bit more detailed than I thought it was going to be. I was picking up this game and thinking, oh okay, it's fairly simple, you know, it's not a huge amount to this game. I got through most of the campaign before I even looked at the track builder. And the track builder you can select from various different areas, and I think they're the same areas that you run through on the career. I don't think all of them are there, but it's good enough to see you make enough of the track builder. Now the track builder itself, you select from a grid of all the objects that you can use throughout the game. You'll be familiar with most of these objects from the actual stages in the career mode as well, which is good. And you can change the size, rotation and position of those objects using the touch screen on the bottom screen of the 3DS. Now I find this control very intuitive, especially when I'm using the stylus of the 3DS. Obviously having that pointer allows you to place it wherever you want really, and you're moving around with the thumbstick and placing with the stylus on the bottom screen. It's actually really intuitive, and you can start placing things very quickly. As you can see here, I'm like copy pasting these boxes, thinking I'll give myself a really good challenge as I'm going through this rock face, just trying to make it look like it's going to be really difficult. And as you can see here, I've already built up, what is that, 10 or so boxes very, very quickly, and it allows you to get through the track editor quite fast. So I think all in all, the track editor is a really good addition to the game. I was actually really excited about the track editor. I was thinking, wow, this is great. I could spend hours and hours and hours on the track editor making a really detailed track, one that's really difficult, and you know, it's something that you could spend a lot of time on. I know on Trials HD, for example, people spent ages and ages on Trials maps because you could get really detailed with those. But on this one, I was thinking, okay, so this is great. What about online? Can I download other people's tracks? And now this is where the track editor really, really let me down. And something that I think they've really missed a trick on is sharing tracks and being able to play other people's tracks. It is possible in this game. You can play other people's tracks, but the only way to do that is to, one, know what their track code is. So when you save a track and you upload it for use online, then it creates a 7-digit unique code for your track. So you need to know the track code. And secondly, you have to have that person on your friends list. So basically it was impossible for me to, especially seeing as I was playing this as early access. There was no one else online, there was no one else playing the game that I knew of at least, and basically it meant that I couldn't use any downloadable tracks. Now I think this is a bit of a setback, especially seeing as this game is probably not going to have a massive audience. It's not going to be something that is on the scale of, say, Trials HD, and really having the tracks not like readily available to you immediately is a big letdown. I was expecting to be able to, you know, download a track really quick, play it and find out how difficult it is, and be able to tell you guys about how great it was that I was able to download a track from someone else. But instead I searched online, there's no one posting any of their track codes, and even if you did find someone who posted a track code, you've then got to try and communicate with them in real time to be able to add them to your friends list, and then they add you, and then you can sort of add their track code into your game and download it. So it's a bit long-winded to be able to just play a custom track that someone else has made. And I think it's a real letdown for the game. It's something that, you know, it's something that I thought would have been great if they had done something simple, like maybe just do like a list of tracks, or, you know, just like list all the tracks that are available, let you download whatever one you want to pick, maybe let someone set the skill rating, so it's like when you save it as like a pro track or something, and then people can download them and play them as they wish to. There's something that you just can't do, basically, which is unfortunate. Alright guys, so I'm just going to round this one off here. Thank you for watching today. This is Urban Trials Freestyle 2. It's available now if you want to go download it from the eShop. And all in all, I'd just say to you guys that this is probably quite a solid game. It's essentially Trials HD if you ever wanted that on your Nintendo 3DS, basically. But yeah, do go ahead and download it, let us know what you think, and I will catch you guys soon. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Well, how do you like it? Makes me feel